Hey there, folks. Tonight, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of international relations. Specifically, we're talking about China's Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI for short. Think of it as a massive global infrastructure project, like a supersized game of Sim City, but with real countries and even realer money. This initiative, launched by China in 2013, aims to connect Asia, Africa, Europe, and beyond through a network of roads, railways, ports, and other infrastructure projects. Sounds ambitious, right? It is. It's like China decided to throw a worldwide housewarming party and invited everyone, even those countries they haven't quite met yet. The goal? To boost trade, economic growth, and maybe even win some friends along the way. It's a bold move. And like that friend who always insists on picking the restaurant, it sparked a whole lot of conversation, both good and, well, let's just say not everyone is thrilled about it. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's focus on one country that's decided to politely decline the invitation to the BRI party, Brazil. Now, you might be thinking, Brazil and China, what's the connection there? They seem like an odd couple, right? Well, hold on to your caipirinas because these two have been getting pretty chummy lately. And by chummy, I mean they've been hanging out a lot. Brazil, the land of samba and soccer, and China, the land of pandas and, well, everything else, have struck up quite the relationship in recent years. It's like a match made in geopolitical heaven. Picture this. Back in November 2024, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Brazilian President Lula da Silva met up. It was a significant moment. They didn't just shake hands and exchange pleasantries. No, sir. They had serious discussions about their future together. They decided to take their relationship to the next level, upgrading it to a global strategic partnership. This was a big deal. It's like they swiped right on each other on the world stage. A perfect match in the world of international relations. This wasn't just a random hookup either. Their relationship has deep roots. This year marked the 50th anniversary of their diplomatic relationship. That's 5 decades of working together. That's right, they've been at it for half a century. And they've achieved a lot together. And to celebrate, they decided to ramp things up, promising to work together on all sorts of projects, from infrastructure to energy, from building stuff, think infrastructure and energy, to massive development projects that could change the landscape of both countries, to sharing knowledge, artificial intelligence, anyone. They're even collaborating on technology and education, so with all this lovey-dovey talk, you'd think Brazil would be first in line to join China's big BRI bash, right? Well, not so fast. There's more to this story. Here's where things get interesting. Brazil's relationship with China has always been a topic of global intrigue. See, despite the cozy relationship, Brazil decided to politely decline the invitation to formally join the BRI. This decision raised quite a few eyebrows in the international community. They're like that friend who loves the idea of a party but would rather just hang out at home with a good book. It's a choice that reflects their unique stance on global partnerships. Now, before you assume they're just being party poopers, there are some very real reasons behind this decision. It's a strategic move, not just a whimsical choice. First off, Brazil wasn't entirely convinced about the tangible benefits of joining the BRI club. They needed more concrete assurances. It's like being offered a membership to a fancy gym, but you're not sure if you'll actually use all the equipment. The cost-benefit analysis just didn't add up for them. Then there's the whole issue of a potential Trump comeback in the US. This adds another layer of complexity to their decision-making process. Nobody wants to be caught in the middle of a geopolitical spat between those two, right? It's a precarious position to be in. It's like being stuck at a dinner party with your divorced parents who still haven't quite figured out how to be in the same room together. Awkward. The tension is palpable. So Brazil's decision boils down to this. They want to stay friends with China, but they also want to keep their options open. It's a balancing act. It's called playing the field, folks, and in the world of international relations, it's a delicate dance. Every step must be carefully considered. Okay, so Brazil doesn't want to formally join the BRI, but does that mean they're giving China the cold shoulder? Not exactly. Remember, these two are still buddies and they're not afraid to keep things casual. Brazil's plan is to cherry-pick the BRI projects that tickle their fancy. It's like going to a buffet and only taking the things you actually want to eat. Think of it as strategic engagement. Brazil gets to dip its toes into the BRI pool without having to dive in head first. They can snag some sweet investment deals for their infrastructure projects while still maintaining their independence. It's a win-win situation, or at least, that's what they're hoping for. Section 5. Geopolitical Tango Balancing Act between China and the West. This is a story of strategic maneuvering, where Brazil finds itself in a complex dance with two powerful partners. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or should we say, the eagle and the dragon. These two giants, the United States and China, are vying for influence, and Brazil is caught in the middle. Brazil's decision to steer clear of the BRI isn't just about economics. It's a strategic move, reflecting a broader vision for its future. It's also about navigating the tricky terrain of geopolitics. Brazil must carefully weigh its options and alliances. You see, Brazil is trying to walk a tightrope here. Balancing its relationships with both China and the West is no easy feat. On one hand, they want to be best buds with China, a rising global superpower with deep pockets. China's investments could significantly boost Brazil's economy. On the other hand, they don't want to alienate their old pals in the West, namely the US and the EU. These relationships have been long-standing and are crucial for Brazil's trade and diplomacy. It's like trying to maintain a friendship with your new college buddies while still staying close to your high school crew. Both sets of relationships are important and require careful attention. It's a delicate balancing act, and there's no shortage of opinions on how to pull it off. Everyone has their own idea of the best path forward. Some folks in Brazil, like Agriculture Minister Carlos Favaro, are all for cozying up to China. They see immense potential in strengthening ties with the Asian giant. They see it as a way to stick it to those pesky protectionist policies in the West. By diversifying their partnerships, Brazil can mitigate risks and open new markets. Others are a bit more cautious, worried that getting too chummy with China might ruffle some feathers across the Atlantic. They fear potential backlash from Western allies. It's a classic case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Every decision comes with its own set of challenges and consequences. Brazil's just trying to find its footing in this ever-shifting global landscape. The country is striving to carve out a path that ensures its growth and stability in a world of competing interests. Section 6. The economic equation, crunching numbers and weighing options. Let's talk numbers, shall we? Because at the end of the day, a lot of this boils down to cold hard cash. Joining the BRI would mean a potential influx of Chinese investment into Brazil. We're talking billions of dollars here, folks. That kind of money could do wonders for Brazil's infrastructure, its economy, and maybe even help fund a few extra carnival floats. But here's the catch. China's not exactly known for its charitable giving. They usually expect something in return for their investments. This could mean anything from favorable trade deals to access to Brazil's natural resources. So, Brazil has to weigh the potential benefits against the potential costs. Do they want to risk becoming economically dependent on China? Or do they want to diversify their portfolio and play the field a bit longer? It's a tough choice, kind of like deciding whether to invest in a volatile tech stock or stick with those boring but reliable bonds. Section 7. The future of Brazil-China relations. A partnership in progress. So, what does the future hold for Brazil and China? Will their bromance stand the test of time, or is it headed for a messy breakup? Well, despite Brazil's decision to politely decline the BRI invitation, these two are still very much an item. They're like that couple that everyone knows is together, even though they haven't put a label on it. During President Xi's visit, they signed a whole bunch of agreements on everything from trade to technology to environmental protection. They even upgraded their relationship status to a community with a shared future. Ah, how sweet. This suggests that both sides are committed to making things work, even if they don't always see eye to eye. It's called compromise, folks, and it's the key to any successful relationship, whether it's between two people or two countries. Section 8, Conclusion: Brazil's Balancing Act, Navigating the Global Tightrope. So there you have it, folks. The story of Brazil and the BRI is a complex one, full of twists, turns, and a whole lot of geopolitical maneuvering. Brazil is essentially trying to walk a tightrope, balancing its desire for Chinese investment with its need to maintain good relations with the West. It's a delicate dance, and only time will tell if they can pull it off. One thing's for sure though, Brazil's decision is a sign of the times. In this increasingly multipolar world, countries are no longer content to be pawns in a great power game. They're forging their own paths, making their own choices, and writing their own rules. And that, my friends, is something worth paying attention to. That's our show for tonight. Stay tuned for next week, when we'll be exploring the fascinating world of, well, you'll just have to wait and see.